We know one thing for sure, and that Glover Teixeira should not be in this spot right here. If you're talking to the fans, talking to the masses, he shouldn't be here. But at the end of the day, it's not a surprise. If you really look back at his fights, man, look at what he did to Thiago Santos. Look at what he did to Anthony Smith. Look at what he did to Nikita Krylov, Jan Kutalaba. I mean, brother, it's rinse, wash, repeat. He gets rocked, he creates a scramble, puts you on your butt, ground and pounds you, beats your face in or submits you. This is what happens every single time. The question now becomes here, AJ, because this is what I think the story of this fight is. Can Glover Teixeira survive those first 5 to 7 minutes? Can he survive it? Because if he does, I think that this is going to be a classic Glover performance. But if he can't, this is going to be a very, very sad way to end your career, brother. So do you agree with my analysis in that Jiri Prochazka has more or less 7 minutes to really get the job done? Or do you think that even if the fight lasted 15 minutes, he's still dangerous every second of it? What do you think?
A little bit of both, because I think he's most dangerous in the starting of the rounds. You know what I'm saying? Those first 3.5 minutes of the round, and then he kind of starts playing the game after that. But when he's very, very dangerous in the beginning, I can see what you mean. As long as Glover outlasts that, kind of out veterans that early shuffle, those blitz attacks, those weird moves that he does, those spinning elbows, the kind of stuff that happens when you still have a lot of energy, then if Glover can get past that, then I can see him having a little bit better. But at that same point, Jiri doesn't have gas tank issues. You know what I'm saying? So those fourth and those fifth rounds come, he's still going to be fresh, at least for that first little bit of the round. Those first 3.5 minutes that are in there, I think he's going to have he's going to have a lot of gas going forward. But then once those kind of come in, then I see a little bit of openings for Glover to kind of present himself. Because I agree, if Glover does get to your back, he puts you on the ground, gets to your back, homeboy's going to choke your neck all day long. And Jiri has to watch out for it, man. I know he was even saying he did something new with his hair with the ponytail up top, just because the last time he was in a choke, it was hard to get out because it got stuck on his hair. So now he's doing something a little different because he knows Glover's going to be there for that choke, man. My biggest thing for Glover to win this fight, I think I agree with you, Derek, is staying away from the crazy power. But is Glover going to be fast enough to do that? Because lately he's been more so willing to let the fight come to him and then grapple you up. I don't think Jiri's going to allow him to. I think Jiri's going to be bouncing around on the outside trying to stay at that range. What do you think, Derek?
Well, I think that Glover Teixeira, at the end of the day, man, you're right. He eats these shots, man. He eats the big bombs, but somehow he's able to survive it. So that's really like my X factor when it comes down to it. I don't think he's going to be elusive enough to be able to avoid the shots of Jiri Prochazka, but I do think he does one thing very well, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for it, and he rolls with the punches very, very well. So we saw that against Anthony Smith, man, and I can't talk enough about this victory or about that performance because Anthony Smith was cracking him. Thiago Santos dropped him multiple times. He was cracking him. But every time Glover Teixeira, it's like my question is Jiri Prochazka going to crack Teixeira and then walk to the other side of the octagon and be like, no, get back up, and then let's get back on the feet? Because if it's that type where he's like, I'm just going to dictate it and we're going to stick around on the feet, and I'm not even going to let you get anywhere near grabbing a single, getting an exchange where you can try to like wrap me up or trip me down or whatever. I mean, Jiri Prochazka is also a behemoth of a man, 6'3", right? All the 80-inch reach. Like he's a big, stout man. But for Glover Teixeira, AJ, I just wanted to ask you this question, man. I mean, yes, Jiri has had a lot of success, right? Look at his UFC performances. That's great. But if you also look, and you said he doesn't have gas tank issues, man, he's never gone 5 rounds in his entire career. So Glover Teixeira, given the fighter that he is, and you see that he's fought the best of the best, man. He has a win over Ryan Bader, Ovince St. Preux, Patrick Cummins, Rashad Evans, Jared Cannonier, Misha Serkinov, Carl Roberson, Jan Kutalaba, Krylov, Smith, Santos. Like when you rattle down the list, you're like, well, this dude has literally fought kind of the best of the best. He's gone 5 rounds multiple times, 3 rounds multiple times, and when you look at his losses, let's name out the last 5 losses or so, right? Corey Anderson, Alexander Gustafsson, Phil Davis, John Jones. I mean, brother, when you really rattle that down, those are like top-notch fighters, right? So I'm not saying that Jiri Prochazka doesn't have the skill that it takes to win this fight. I'm just curious on what the approach is going to be. Because let's not forget, Glover can crack too, and Prochazka takes a lot of damage, man. He ate a lot of shots. The reason why I think we're so enamored by Jiri Prochazka right now is because he walks through the shots like it's nobody's business. Like he just walks through them. It seems like it doesn't even affect him. Do you think there's any chance in the world, and anything can happen in a fight, but Glover lands that crispy left hook, the same one that he did on Jan Blachowicz, and stumbles Jiri Prochazka back a little bit and makes him re-question his strategy? Do you think that's a possibility?
I'm glad you noticed the left hook too, Derek, because there's a thing Yuri does. He'll kind of start getting in this flow. He'll like throw the elbows up. He starts moving the hands. But when he's comfortable, the left hand's high, that right hand's just a little low, which means if you got a good left hook, man, it's going to go right over his right hand, catch that chin. It's a possibility. I saw the same thing, man. I see Yuri coming in there, and he does get tagged. He does have the head movement. He'll get tagged to kind of show you he's in the fight, but you don't want to be running around and risking that with a dude like Glover who has absolute power, man. He might be old, but this homeboy can still crack, and Glover's still a very, very dangerous opponent. I don't know. The thing about Yuri, which I like the most, is the elusivity, man. How elusive this dude is. He's moving, he's grooving in there. He's at different angles when you're not expecting him to be there. He's one of those like mysterious fighters that has that weird range and that weird awkwardness to him. And he's just an awkward dude in general. So, he's always coming in with something a little different. So as much as I want to say that Yuri's going to be in there bouncing around, maintaining range, coming in and then bouncing right out once he's getting done, Yuri, he's proven he likes to sit in the pocket and take a couple shots. So it is possible that Glover can land something, out of left field that comes, left hook. Larry comes out of nowhere and just drops Yuri. I'm not thinking it's going to happen, but I don't see why it couldn't, Derek. It is there to be had.
That's kind of what scares me about this matchup and me picking Teixeira here is because Teixeira is a little too comfortable in the pocket sometimes. You know what I mean? He sticks around, brother. He just sticks right there and he'll trade shots. This is the thing, man. Do you think that the odds makers have Jiri Prochazka as a minus 195 favorite, not just because he's a great fighter, but also because there's this mystique around him? Like, this dude is in the forest, like, punching trees and shit like that. Like, I say that just because I really feel like people are thinking that Prochazka has ungodly power. Like, his power is on another dimension, so when he hits Teixeira is just going to crumble and fall. But if Thiago Santos cracked him multiple times and couldn't do that, if Anthony Smith, these are some of the hardest hitters at 205, couldn't do it, why can Jiri Prochazka do it? That's just my question, especially given the back and forth nature of Prochazka versus Dominic Reyes, or even Volkan Ozdemir versus Prochazka. I feel like these were back and forth fights. You know what I mean? These weren't necessarily super one-sided. Do you agree, or what are you thinking?
No, I agree with you. They're very much back and forth, but I think that's what makes Yuri dangerous is he has the surprise factor in those back and forths. Take the Dominic Reyes spinning elbow for instance, man. He hit that within 2 inches of space between the two of them.
Yeah.
That was a tight spin as well as a dirty little elbow coming across. So I think that's where Yuri has the X factor for me. Yeah. Is in those weird exchanges, stay in the pocket, those weird exchanges that can go down at any moment. I think that's what does it for me personally.
So last question before we get into the actual props on this one. If Jiri Prochazka gets taken down within the first 2 rounds and gets controlled a little bit, do you think that's basically the beginning of the end for Prochazka? Because I don't think it's as simple as, if he gets taken down, it's over. I think he can get back up to his feet. And a lot of times, Glover will take you down and then get back up and then, you know what I mean, try to wear you out over the course of 5 rounds. What do you think starts happening? Do the live odds shift once he gets taken down and it starts going favored into Teixeira? Or do you think the odds makers are thinking he can't even get a takedown in the first place? Like, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think the odds shift. The second he gets taken down, I think everybody's going to kind of panic. Well, I haven't really seen Yuri in that position yet, so I don't know how he's going to handle. I'm sure he has great ground game, but that right there causes a little bit of pause for concern, especially with the bettors.
The only reason that I asked that is because if Anthony Smith, a legit certified jiu-jitsu black belt, was having real problems on the ground against Teixeira, what is Yuri supposed to do? I get it. He's this mythical figure. I get it. But, let's talk credentials. And credentials speak for themselves, brother. So I'm just going to leave that for what it's worth. Now let's talk some props right here. So what's really interesting to me in terms of the props for this fight, AJ, is that Glover Teixeira, when you're looking at a submission prop for him, plus 350, which is pretty good odds. I mean, if you look at his last couple victories, so he won his last, his last 2 fights by submission. Anthony Smith, he won by knockout. But basically, he has 4 submission wins in his last 6 wins overall, right? So, I mean, the odds of him getting a submission in this scenario aren't very low. I think they are pretty high. If he's going to win, that probably is going to be the way it's going to get done. I don't really see a decision victory coming out of this fight. But then again, when you look at the TKO prop for Jiri Prochazka, this is why I'm saying, I'm like, the odds makers, everyone just has such a interesting perspective of this fight. Minus 155 for a TKO win on Jiri Prochazka. So that means the odds makers are literally saying that if this goes the way we think it is, Prochazka's just going to knock him out, and that's just going to be that. And I get it. 28 wins, 25 knockouts. I get it, right? But you immediately jumped from doing his championship nature and all the promotions that he fought in to Volkan Ozdemir, to Dominic Reyes, now to the champion, brother. Like, not just the champion, but a chiseled veteran who's been around forever, right? At the UFC, at the highest level there is. Odds makers a little too confident here, brother. Do you see another outcome of this fight?
No, I see it the same way the odds makers do. That's what I was calling for as well as a KO. I mean, I can see your pause for concern, Derek. You make a very valid point, jumping in right, literally thrown to the sharks, thrown to the dogs out there. But he's been handling it pretty well. Second round KO, second round KO. I'm going third round KO just because I'm giving Glover a little bit of a little bit more bump, a little bit more bump for Glover, man. But I see the same way the odds makers do.
Okay, so let me ask you, the over and under is 1.5 rounds. Are you taking the over? Like, are you going late second round? Or you actually, you said third round, right? So third round,
Third
boom.
round.
Okay, yeah.
But that's absolutely wild. They think this one's gonna over and under 1.5. Damn, bro. They're the odds makers not doing any love for Glover. Interesting. I can see it going longer than that. Glover's gonna last longer than that. But like I said, KO round 3. What about you? Who you going?
I'm gonna go submission round 3 in this one for Glover Teixeira, man. I think he's going to drag Jiri into those deep waters, Anthony Smith style, and I think that it's going to be long and slow and drawn out, but I do think he will be able to get the choke on Jiri Prochazka if he puts him in those very uncomfortable spots personally. I just think that Glover Teixeira is going to go classic style. He's going to get hit. He's going to get rocked. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, Jiri won. And then he's going to create a scramble. And he's going to put Jiri on his back, and he knows how to survive. That's just what he does. But then again, this is all predicated on if the ref doesn't have a quick trigger finger and doesn't just jump in and be like, oh, automatically, nope, jump in. So it's a championship bout. I have faith that they wouldn't do that. But with that being said, that is your first championship bout. I'm rocking with the champion, Glover Teixeira, and still you're rocking with and new. Last question. Just give me a very quick couple words on this one. If Jiri loses, is his stock still incredibly high after the fight?
Yes. I mean, I guess it depends on the fashion in which he loses. He gets, arm barred round 1. Probably not, but he lasts a little while, shows a little bit of dog in him. Yeah, I think his stock still stays real high.
All right. Well, on Monday, we will definitely be back to talk about the outcome of that.